CKCO News has provided us with the first half of our 2-hour look at the past year. I'm Randy Steinman. On behalf of the Sports Department, welcome to this look back at the top 10 sports stories of 1996. It was a terrific year for curling in Canada. 3 of this country's rinks won world championships, and all of them came on Canadian ice. Alberta's Heather Godberson got things started at the World Junior Women's Championships in Red Deer.
She said she learned something with her first one. For the championship shot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It looks as though it's right on target. It's time to shake hands. Canada has done it. For the 8th time in world curling history, it's a double for Canada.
Jeff Stoughton and Marilyn Boda completed their big double sweep for Canada at the World Curling Championships at Copps Coliseum in Hamilton. Our top 10 countdown continues after this.
6th play of the opening drive. Frazier looking left side now, wide open over there. Phillips inside the 10. Lawrence Phillips scores the game's opening touchdown. 4 balls on that drive. See if Werfel goes back to him. That pass picked off by Michael Booker. Free room ahead. Michael Booker in for the touchdown.
Daryl Johnston, the blocking back, fake to Smith.
Wide open, Novacek, touchdown, Dallas.
Smith. Touchdown. Then he's distracted. Oh, he sees it coming.
Put it in the middle, buddy. Do all you can. Winning 2 Daytona 500s will be too much. Here he comes to the line, and Dale Jarrett is going to pull it off at Daytona, his 2nd Daytona 500 win. Wow. Man, it was almost as good as it was the first time.
The car was just awesome. It came down to, I think, Robert Yates having the best engine here. He's simply the best in the business, and that's what kept me out front. And I hated for Earnhardt again, but y'all got something to talk about again next year when we come back here for the 500.
It was a year of milestones in Major League Baseball, and most of the excitement took place in the past couple of months. During a 1-week span in mid-September, Eddie Murray, Paul Molitor, and Roger Clemens all put their names in the record books.
This might be it. Way back it is. It's gone. Hey, 500 for Eddie Murray.
Molitor went 0 for 3 yesterday. 1 for 2 so far here tonight. To right center field. Myers and Nunley chase it. Myers, the ball drops. Molitor has his 3,000th hit, and he's chugging for third. And he's in with a triple. Paul Molitor becomes the 21st member of baseball's 3,000 hit club. St. Paul, you've got 2 members in the 3,000 hit club. Dave Winfield and now Paul Molitor.
Paul Molitor, being a very emotional individual, is cherishing every second of this.
Another strikeout.
Tiger Stadium.
He got him. He ties his own record 10 years later from April 1986 on September 1996.
The wins haven't come my way as maybe they should have, but I have the opportunity tonight, and I just wanted to try and seize it as quick as I could.
Base hit, 2-0 New York. Into right center, base hit. Here comes Jeter. The throw is no good. 3-0. Another chance to the left side. Hayes waits. The Yankees are champions of baseball.
When you get as old as I am, you learn to appreciate it. It may only come down one time, but I'll tell you, this is the best feeling between yesterday and today, the best feelings I've ever had in my life.
New York became just the 3rd team in World Series history to win the championship after losing the first 2 games at home. But one of the biggest baseball stories of the year was still to come. A little more than 2 weeks ago, the Blue Jays announced the biggest free agent signing of the offseason.
And I guess the most meaningful thing was when Mr. Beast and Paul came down to our home in Houston. And after all the small talk ended, he sat on the chair in front of me, looked me right in the eyes, and said that that Atlanta is they talk about Atlanta being the team of the 90s. And he goes, as you know, he goes, we sport one more world championship ring than they do. And I told Paul, it's a point well taken.
Roger is not just a pitcher, he's a leader, he's a presence for this ball club, and someone that we think is going to take us to the World Series this year.
I can't wait to pitch it with Pat. Being the Cy Young winner, I want to see what his thoughts are. Carlos, we talked this morning about the 21. He was so gracious to pass the number along. I'll work a deal with him later, somewhere. Coming to a new team, the number is great. It's meant a lot to, again, myself and my family. But you just don't come into a new situation, whether you have the credentials or who you are. I've never been a person like that. I want to make myself fit and be a part of this team so we can try and win another championship. I'm going to get an opportunity to play with a great player in Joe Carter. And there's so many players on this team. I think there's at least 5 or 6 that still that don at least 1, if not 2, world championship rings. I've accomplished almost everything I would like to accomplish in this game, except get back to the World Series and win that title.
I would say that we certainly have a great staff, and to say we have the best staff, you can say that on paper, but as Roger said, I'm pretty sure when Roger goes out there, he's going to show you that he's certainly one of the best in the league or in baseball. So I would just say that we have a good staff.
The Blue Jays went on a spending spree in the final months of 1996. They dished out $67.5 million, almost half of which will go to Roger Clemens over the next 4 years. It was a strange year in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky was on the move again, twice.
And I think this is a decision that, it's going to be good for the LA Kings. I really think they've made a nice trade here. They're going to get some young guys, and hopefully these young guys come along, and I think it's going to be good for them, and I hope it's good for them because the fans deserve good here. They have great fans here, and I hope it works out for me.
I knew it was the best thing for the Los Angeles Kings, and at the same time, there was always some regret that, he still is Wayne Gretzky. But in the long run, I think it is the best for not only Wayne Gretzky but for the LA Kings.
We've added a dimension now to our hockey team that we needed badly. We needed offense to be generated. We know we're going to get more offense. We certainly have a quality individual who's had the experience of winning the Stanley Cup on 4 different occasions.
He adds a dimension that I don't think anybody really understands in St. Louis, and I think as excited as you are, I don't think you're going to be nearly as excited as you will be when you see him don the blue note and step on the ice with the talent that we have right now.
It's been very unnerving the last couple of months, a little unsettling, not knowing whether we were going to stay or go, and that's hard for anybody. And when you change, towns, I mean, it's going to be difficult.
2 days after the trade, Gretzky made his St. Louis debut in Vancouver, and number 99 wasted little time before fitting in with the Blues.
Penalized player back out. Mateau gets it across. Here's Gretzky. He scores! Number 830 of his career, number 1 with the St. Louis Blues.
But by July, Gretzky had switched teams again. He signed as a free agent with the New York Rangers.
No time to keep emotions inside now. This is what we played for all year, and this is the only thing that I've been shooting for a long time now. And just to have your name on the cup, lifted over your head, it's just a great thrill. When you get traded to a new town and a new team, and the people believe a lot in you to make the trade, I mean, it's important as a player and to show that they made a good move.
Colorado obviously showed that they didn't want to go back home to play Game 5, but it seemed like we played 4, 5, and 6 right here in one game. And what can I tell you? I'm exhausted. I'm disappointed, but in the same breath, I'm proud of our accomplishment.
5 years ago, who would have thought a Stanley Cup final featuring teams from Denver and Miami? When we come back, we'll check on the state of the Canadian Football League. It's our 7th biggest sports story of the year, and it's coming up next.
Here's Clancy. Flicks it up in front. Witten tried to tip it. Clancy scores! Skorina coming in. Tucker is with them. Skorina shoots. He scores!
The plate umpire, John McSherry, making his way back to the home plate area, and he has collapsed. John McSherry, the plate umpire, has collapsed behind home plate. Trainers out there quickly to attend to him, and the rest of the crew arriving on the scene quickly.
The Canadian Football League returned to its roots in 1996. Early in the year, the CFL announced that 4 U.S.-based franchises had folded, and the Grey Cup champion Baltimore Stallions would move to Montreal. In short, CFL expansion to the States failed miserably.
We acknowledge we made lots of mistakes. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. And in this case, we gained all of the lessons and the experience that come with our failures and with our successes in the United States. Second, we would like to pay tribute to our American partners who have been with us this past 3 years sharing this experiment. We have made arrangements to provide for their re-entry into the Canadian Football League should we decide to expand to the South again within the next 3 years.
We are satisfied that we have ourselves organized and able to commit to going into Montreal.
We've all been to Montreal. We've checked everything out. These people have been very pleasant to us. They've extended to us really almost like an open door policy of helping us be successful. That's from the local sports teams that are there and also the local sponsors. I want to also compliment the fact that Larry Smith did one heck of a job putting this together over the past 2 years. What has happened in Montreal did not happen overnight. And for us to be able to walk in there and make this type of decision this quickly, there was a lot of groundwork laid before we ever got there. But I also want to thank my partners and the other governors in this league today and the faith and confidence they have in our organization, because we truly believe that we can do great things for this league, as I think we have in the past 2 years, and move into Montreal and make this a very, very strong franchise. I think this right now, from the day I've walked in the last 2 years, this has been one of the most important decisions the league has made to get back into Montreal, and I'm very fortunate to be part of it. I think for me, this is probably my happiest day right now, to know that I have a long-term viability to be in Montreal and to be hopefully a leader in the CFL with our franchise.
The opportunity to have CFL football in Shreveport, Louisiana, the application, it was denied. That's all.
What did Larry say? Just say sorry, but...
Yeah. It's, and, you know, they may have their reasons. I don't know. They still don't have my office address.
I could give you a one-word comment, but you couldn't print it. I look like the NFL. Guys, no. Please, no.
But while the year began on a sour note, it ended with one of the most exciting Grey Cup games ever. The Argos met Edmonton at a snowy Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Toronto kicker Mike Vanderjagt was named top Canadian for his 5 field goals. And 2 days after being named the CFL's outstanding player for the 5th time in 6 years, Doug Flutie was named the game MVP. The Argos held off the Eskimos 43-37 for their first Grey Cup win in 5 years.
The Grey Cup now means so much more to me than it did in '91. I've matured, I've grown, I'm Canadian now, and I can feel the Grey Cup. I know what it means, and to go through all that hard time makes it so much sweet. I just thank God for my players, and to be able to play with these guys, they are wonderful.
It just feels good to stay with this organization. I mean, it's been a heck of a journey to play with a guy like Pinball Clemens for 8 years. It's been a long time coming, and it feels great, especially to win at home. And I want to say hi to Stony Creek.
Finding ways to win, We won a lot of close games, and the coaches instill in us that.
Good thing you kept your toucan.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You know.
Of course, the future of the CFL is always in question, and this offseason is no different. The Ottawa Roughriders have folded, and the BC Lions, Montreal Alouettes, and Saskatchewan Roughriders are in serious financial trouble. In the midst of another World Junior Hockey Tournament, it's a great time to reflect on Canada's success at this annual event. This country has won 4 straight World Junior titles. The most recent came 51 weeks ago, as Canada took on Sweden in the championship game in Boston. Canada grabs an early lead in the opening period. Damon Lankow breaks in alone and scores 1-0 Team Canada. But Sweden comes back to tie it as Marcus Nilsson has his shot stopped, but Nilsson bangs in the rebound. It's tied at 1 after 20 minutes. In the second, Canada scores the game winner. On the power play, Jerome McGinley sets up Lankow, who beats Bergfist for the second time, 2-1. Final frame, Canada puts it away. Elmira's Jamie Wright wires the shot. Alan McCauley with the rebound to round out the scoring at 4-1. That was followed by the celebration, the Canadian players proudly wearing their gold medals around their necks. For many, it was and will be the highlight of their hockey careers. Then came the presentation of the World Junior Hockey Plate. It was held high by Canada captain Nolan Baumgartner, who summed up his teammates' feelings on their World Junior Hockey title.
You know, these guys right here, any of these guys would have went through the wall for each other. And I'm just happy to be a part of this team. This is a great bunch of guys. I don't know how to explain it, but whoa!
Canada's junior hockey team, winner of this country's 4th straight world title, is our 6th biggest sports story of 1996. We're back after this.
The right number. There's the ball.
He had a number. Greg did not have a number.
He got it. Nick Faldo has won the Masters for the 3rd time.
And down the stretch they come. Unbridled Stone. Cavalier on the inside. Out in the middle of the track, Grindstone is closing stoutly. It's Cavalier on the inside and Grindstone on the outside. McCarron and Bailey. Here's the finish. Again, too tight to call. Was it Cavalier on the inside? Was it Bailey with Grindstone on the outside? Noses apart after a mile and a quarter in the Kentucky Derby.
If there's one Canadian athlete looking to return to former form in the new year, that person is 2-time world figure skating champion Elvis Stojko. The Richmond Hill native reclaimed his national title at the Canadian Championships in Ottawa, but disaster struck 6 weeks later at the Worlds in Edmonton. Stojko was 7th after falling during his short program. He rebounded to finish 4th, but it was seen as a huge disappointment that Elvis finished out of the medals. Prior to his recent Skate Canada victory in Kitchener, Stojko spoke with Jeff Hutcheson about the past year and the future.
And last year I had a difficult time trying to focus on my game plan. I had a lot of different things pulling me which way, left and right, and had a difficult time. Physically I was fine, mentally I was not sound, and this year is what I'm focusing on.
What type of distractions then are you trying to eliminate this year?
Could be an extra show. And it's so much to be at a point where it comes always at the wrong time, where you need that extra day to reflect on a practice. You need that extra day to reflect and some time and some space for myself, because I come home and, you know, just like anyone else, you got to do things at the house, you got to do things at home, you got to take care of things at the rink, practice, and then you also want to reflect and just sort of have a downtime. And I didn't really get a chance to do that last year. I had a real difficult time of the ups and downs, and this year I really have learned to say no. For myself, and also be good to my friend, and that's me. And that's a big thing that I had to learn and identify with this year, and it's really helped me.
I was going to ask you, when you're answering that question, it just sounded like you were the kind of guy who couldn't say no, and have found out that, hey, it's okay to do that.
Yeah, it is okay, and sometimes the no is a maybe, and people kind of know that no you're saying is a maybe, so they understand. But now when I say yes, I can do it, I will do it. If I say no, I can't do it, I can't do it.
Okay, what's the difference between Elvis Stojko as we sit here now and a year ago? And you've mentioned the focus. You've got new music. Are you where you want to be at this point?
Absolutely. This year is on track. Last year I had trouble getting on track where I wanted to be. I was a little behind. This year I'm on track. I had a difficult time in Edmonton a few weeks ago. I was not prepared. I couldn't get prepared. The rules had been changed from a short program to artistic, and then just before I left, I had not practiced my long because I was getting ready for this later for Skate Canada. So then they changed it to a long program. I maybe practiced it maybe 3 or 4 times on tour, and it was a really difficult thing. You know, they liked me to be there. For another person to come out to get people to come and watch, and I did my stuff, but you know, and now I'm getting back on track, and things are on top of where they should be at this point in time.
Some of the problems last year, was there a certain feeling, you had the distractions, but was there a certain, maybe not where you wanted to be with the program?
Pretty much. The first program that we put together, couldn't get it to fit right. The elements couldn't fit. I love the music, I love the concept, but the elements couldn't fit right. I had to change them around. I didn't feel comfortable. Also, too, last year's program always came back into my head, and also Ushi's head, that it wasn't quite finished. It didn't go, because of the injury in '95, it didn't go to its maximum. And it would always come back. The music would always be there, and I said, I'm changing it, I want to go back. And to have a good force with the good short program that I had, the new ideas and the style and the concept and the artistry within the short program, and then have the strong long program from last year to give it the boost because I already had it familiar with me. And I was able to do that at Worlds and put it at its peak and then put it on the shelf and then move on.
While Stojko remains this country's most high-profile figure skater, the dance team of Shailin Bourne and Victor Kratz are right on his heels. Bourne and Kratz claimed their 4th straight Canadian Ice Dance Championship in 1996. They won their 3rd straight Skate Canada title. And for the first time ever, they medaled at the World Figure Skating Championships. Bourne and Kratz captured bronze in Edmonton. It was Canada's first medal in that event since 1988. The 1996 World Cup of Hockey was seen as a great boost for hockey in the United States. The U.S. hosted a number of games in the round-robin tournament, and when the dust had settled, the surprising Americans took on Canada in a best-of-3 final, pitting the best hockey players in the world.
Bumped in center. Here's Fleury. Stealing it. Coming in. Fleury scores! Fleury has done it again with a great effort. Ottawa's pretty good at these faceoffs. He wins it. Shot. Knockout. Rebound. Scrap. Score! Score! Team USA has tied it.
Tip near center ice. Up over the line, Canada. Eiserman shot. Look! Doerr! Canada has scored! Canada wins the first game in overtime, 4-3.
Dano throws it to Suter. There goes Leclerc to the net. Niedermeyer loses position on him and then can't handle his stick. And not many defensemen can.
He didn't see Big Lindros come up to fake him. Lindros dropped it. Shanahan shoots, scores! Shanahan! Line. Kept it in out the line. USA pressing. Smolinski shot. In the goal. A penalty was going to be called. Play it out. Slam the shot. And a breakaway is coming up. And it's Hull. Goodness gracious. Hull scores! Brett Hull on the block shot by Chelios. And Hull was up at center ice.
True, it was only one game, but national pride was at stake 2 nights later in Montreal. We could just as easily have celebrated our destiny to win, but Game 3 was a 5-2 loss, and Canada was suddenly concerned about the world closing in on our sport.
It was obvious from the outset that there was more than just bragging rights on the line. This wasn't just a game, it was a war, and more often than not, sticks were the weapon of choice. Perhaps intense is not strong enough a word to describe what went on out there.
It was a low-down, dirty game out there, and it was rough and tough, and we fought for every inch, and as did they.
As in Game 2, the U.S. opened the scoring on Brett Hull's one-time rocket from the circle, an unstoppable shot for Curtis Joseph. Then for the next period and a half, Canada was all over the Americans, and only the eventual tournament MVP, goalie Mike Richter, kept the U.S. in the game. Time after time, he turned back Team Canada. Vincent Danfous on a shorthanded breakaway. Eric Lindros point blank on the feathering setup from Wayne Gretzky. Lindros did manage to tie the score at 1 with 5.5 seconds remaining in the second, but it could have and should have been a substantial Team Canada lead.
In the second period, it was like Hurricane Canada blowing through the United States.
Every time you go out there and play, your responsibilities really remain the same, whether it's a game like this or just a regular game during the season, and you're trying to get yourself to be in a position to save every puck, and for a full 60 minutes, the stakes are a bit higher here, so you don't change much, you just try to do it better.
Richter was flawless, even on Adam Foote's go-ahead goal in the third, which he didn't even see. But it looked like Canada would be rewarded with a win until fate stepped in the way. Brett Hull's second goal of the night tied it at 2 with less than 3.5 minutes to play, with a redirection on a borderline high stick. 43 seconds later, Tony Amonte either shoots or kicks in the tournament-winning goal. Complete and total shock for the Canadians. Euphoria for Team USA.
It's amazing how the game went. We had highs and lows. It was like your lifetime in 3 hours.
I don't think you can describe it. You've got one team that's 205 or so on some odd seconds away from winning, and it doesn't happen.
The win will open up wide the debate concerning the impact of the outcome of this game on hockey in both Canada and the United States. It began immediately following last night's game, and already opinions differ widely.
We've put to rest what a lot of people have said earlier openly, and now I guess in hushed tones, that Americans don't have the character or grit to play this great game of hockey.
I don't think that there's anything that's overwhelming by us losing this game tonight. I mean, it was a good hockey game. It could have gone either way. It didn't. It's another hockey game. They certainly played well. They played well enough to win. And the bottom line is they did win.
In reality, it's the game itself that is the big winner.
There's no question that Canada's world dominance in hockey ended in 1996. And once the Gretzkys, Messiers, Coffeys, Eisermans, and other older stars retire, who will then carry the torch? When we come back, our third and second biggest stories of 1996.
And here comes Gano. Gano breaking in front, Russell, scores! Start back, he's got Gano breaking down the left wing, gets it to him, here's Gano, scores! Time ticks down.
Doerr.
Here is Jordan kicking it out. Pippen
Will reach the level with this crowd, and they played a major part in this victory tonight.
in the final second, the Chicago Bulls have won the 95-96 NBA championship.
I can't even put it in words. My Father's Day, what it means to me. I know he's watching. To my wife, and to my kids, and to my mother, my brothers and sisters. This is for Daddy. I'm very happy for him.
Jacques Villeneuve made his mark on the Formula One driving circuit in 1996. The Canadian made a very successful jump from IndyCar racing to take 4 F1 checkered flags and compete for the overall title. Villeneuve made his debut at the Australian Grand Prix.
And I know Canada is watching this race, and Canada can rejoice at the brilliance of its son, Jacques Villeneuve, son of the great Gilles. And he's doing a sort of Nigel Mansell in reverse, because Nigel Mansell went to Indy racing and blew them all away to become the champion in his first year. And we've never had this happen before, an Indy driver come to Formula One and do as well as Villeneuve is.
There's Jacques right there. There's Damon Hill. Now he's coming over to wave to his mechanics.
There's Villeneuve just coming into the picture. Hill is first. Jacques Villeneuve has finished second here in Montreal. There is the gap between the two Williams Renaults. Damon Hill has won for the 5th time this year, and Jacques Villeneuve is second. That will move Villeneuve ahead of Schumacher, who did not finish this race, into second place in the World Championship standings behind Damon Hill.
It's going to be the 5th Williams first and second of the season. It's going to be Jacques Villeneuve's 4th win of the season. It's keeping the World Championship alive for him, and of course the Williams team has already won the Constructors' Championship. Villeneuve wins in Portugal, 10 World Championship points.
Villeneuve would eventually finish second to Hill in the overall points championship, but there's no question that the Canadian's future in Formula One is right on track. There's little question about the most surprising sports story of the year. It's also number 2 on our countdown. It took place November 9th in Las Vegas. Boxer Evander Holyfield was expected to be just another notch in Mike Tyson's belt, but instead the two former heavyweight champs hooked up in this decade's most talked about fight.
A cut over the left eye in the 6th round of Tyson, and I can't remember the last time I heard Tyson being cut. But Tyson now is electrified, and Holyfield answers back. Now it's toe-to-toe. This is what Holyfield said he would do, and we didn't think he'd be able to survive it. They're toe-to-toe, and it's becoming a slugfest to find out who the better man is. Big right hand catches Evander, and it doesn't back him off. Tyson's going to be frustrated by that. Most guys would have kissed the canvas with that shot. Mike Tyson caught him with a good right hand. He's looking to land an uppercut inside. Evander's ready to stand toe-to-toe. This is a mistake for Evander to stand there and not grab like he was doing. He wants to mix it up. He wants to make a brawl out of it. I don't think this is a bright thing for Evander, but he's a warrior. He's going to fight his fight. Listen to the crowd chanting Holyfield. They want him to win. Low blow that time by Evander. Mike's got a bewildered look on his face as he walks into a left hook. He's caught. Tyson looks a little staggery to me right now. He's caught again. Tyson's legs are not in tremendous shape right now. He's down. He's caught with a left uppercut for the 2nd time in his career. I told you his legs weren't there, and he was hit by a left uppercut. He'll have to take the standing 8 count. What a surprise! You talk about an upset in the making. Evander said at some stage he'd go toe-to-toe with him, and so far he's won the 2nd battle. Evander may have him in trouble. Can you believe Tyson's been down? And he's still not 100% back. I can tell by his eyes, and especially by his legs. His legs are heavy, and he's got that concerned look on his face. Now we find out who the real bully is. Evander tries to load up. Mike not hanging on. Mike not throwing. And he's ready to go again. Look at this. Toe-to-toe. And inside, it's Holyfield winning the round big. Listen to the crowd. No matter who wins this fight, this is the heavyweight champion. The big right hand finally backed off Evander. Mike caught him again. He may be staggered a bit. Caught him with the right hand. Evander's definitely hurt. His toes are buckling underneath his feet, and that's a sign. Let's see if Mike can follow up. He's trying to get back. Mike hurt him with those 2 shots. Mike doesn't have that real killer instinct, though. It's Holyfield who comes back. Mike has got to get that killer instinct and go after him. You see the time remaining halfway through the round. If Mike can hit him with another one like that, it was the left hand that caught him first, then the right hand. That's what he needs to do. It's the first time, and we're in the 10th round, that Holyfield's been backed off. Mike has got to pick up the pace if he's going to win this thing. Instead, it's 2 powering jabs that have kept Tyson off all night. Now you see Tyson with a bit of movement with a head that's been not there all night. When he moves his body like that, which he hasn't done all night, Evander won't be able to hit him. It's a little late to be talking about that, but I don't think they ever dreamed it would go this far. Oh, big right hand that time, and he may have Tyson staggered. Tyson's legs are shot. He caught him again. Mike's in trouble. He's almost ready to go. Big right hand. He's going to go. He's going to go. The left hand. Tyson's out of it. His eyes are just about rolling back. Left hand. Right hand. Halper's going to stop the fight. Okay, that ends it. And Mike is out on his feet. He is actually knocked out right now on his feet. That's a 10-8 round for Holyfield. Tyson now can only win by knockout. He can't win the fight on points. He's got too much grease on his face. There's confusion in the Tyson camp. Mike's eyes are still not clear. He's having trouble focusing. He attacks with all he has. But Mike's legs are not there. He's ready for the picking. He's not there. He's not fully there. You see him off balance? Watch Holyfield. Holyfield is going to knock him out this round. He's going to knock him out. I'm convinced. Mike is still not there. Loading up shots. Watch this. He got him. He's got him in big trouble. Mike is taking all kinds of shots. It's all over. We got a new heavyweight champion of the world. Can you believe it? Do you believe it? Evander Holyfield has done it. He's the new heavyweight champion of the world.
The setback was just the second of Tyson's career. His loss to Buster Douglas in 1990 was seen as a case of Iron Mike simply being unprepared. But November's 11-round loss to Holyfield has many questioning the future of the Tyson camp. We're coming right back with our top sports story of the year.
Beck pointing at the Oriole dugout, and he's just thrown Alomar out of the game. Here come Davy Johnson and Alomar charging toward home plate. Hirschbeck threw him out of a very big game, and you can understand the Orioles just being furious. And Alomar's trying to get at Hirschbeck. The rest of the umpires are coming in to try to keep him away from John Hirschbeck.
Cigar trying to get him as they reach the top of the stretch. Louis Couture's in alphabet soup fighting ungamely. Montsassafras clinging desperately to the lead. Alphabet soup in with an upset chance. Cigar, the heart of it champion, trying to get him. It's alphabet soup. Cigar on the outside. Louis Couture's alphabet soup has scored a shocking upset.
45. Schneider goes to work over the middle. Complete. This will go for a touchdown. And the way the program has developed, they hit the pinnacle today. Schneider looking in for Rennie. Touchdown, Saskatchewan.
This brings us to our top sports story of 1996. The games of the 26th Olympiad were held in Atlanta. From July 19th through August 4th, Canadian athletes captivated the country and at times the world.
Finish this is going to be Marianne Lippert in form. Michelle Smith at the top of your picture. Marianne Lippert still very much in medal contention here. Michelle Smith of Ireland, her third gold. Second place goes to Marianne Lippert. It's a silver for Canada. And third place to Lin Lee of China. Joanne Millar finishes fourth.
And we're underway in the women's double sculls event. Canada won bronze in this event in 1984 with Silken and Danielle Laumann, but it's McBean and Heddle going for gold for Canada.
We've seen a great first 500 meters out of the Chinese. However, after that, they seem to lag somewhat. We are not expecting the Chinese to be that much of a factor. However, you don't know how many games have been played to this point. It's a good sign here. They have 1 seat of a lead over the Dutch. The Dutch have been suffering from a back injury since Lucerne. That was 6 weeks ago. Again, you don't know how many games the Dutch have been playing. Maybe they've been using that to their advantage all week, only to surprise the Canadians in the final. One thing about Marnie, she is a smart racer. She will call the best race, I believe, of anyone in this field. She will get the most out of Kathleen, and just watching Kathleen motivate the two of them down the course.
The battle for medals is right there, and McBean and Heddle, as they have been throughout this regatta, in control. Al Morrow is their coach. Brian Richardson told me that Kathleen Heddle is a rower that comes along maybe once in a decade, and very few are as fiery in the competitive aspect as Marnie McBean.
This is an unbeatable combination. Kathleen, you saw the look on her face. That is determination. She has fire in her eyes. These women, their training consists of hours of repetitive rowing, repetitive weightlifting, riding bicycles, running miles. They have the endurance training. Now what they're putting together is just fire and just a determination to get across the line first.
Partners since 1989, and they are unbeaten this year, winning in Duisburg and Lucerne, winning convincingly, and going through 1,500 meters with that lead. It's very tight for second between China and the Dutch, so it all comes down to the last 500 meters.
They must sprint now for the line, and it's between the Dutch, the Chinese, and the Canadians. The Canadians look to have a strong enough lead, but they have to be able to hold them off.
Canada hasn't had to use that extra gear so far, but now it'll be Kathleen Heddle in the final 200 meters, turning it up for Canada. The Chinese and the Dutch trying to attack as McBean and Heddle try to hold them off. China moving on the left side, the Dutch on the right, into the final 100 meters now. McBean and Heddle going for the medal, trying to row their way into history, and looking for Canada's first Olympic gold of the Games. Kathleen Heddle and Marnie McBean, their third Olympic gold medal, and Canadians cheering here and right across the country.
This time they do get away. Now it's Donovan Bailey trying to pick up runners. Donovan Bailey is putting on a surge. Addo Golden in the lead. Here comes Bailey. He's got it. 9.84, a world record for Donovan Bailey and a gold medal. Donovan Bailey through the heats and into the semifinal indicated that he was ready. He had the power down the stretch to overtake other runners.
Doesn't like the heat, but what a great day she had today. A silver medal for Alison Sider as she comes across, waving to the crowd. A strong Canadian contingent here. A silver medal for Canada.
In Barcelona, 28 feet, 5.5 inches. Here he goes. Oh, that's a good one. That may put him in the lead. Is it legal? Yes, it is. What a huge jump by Carl Lewis. Listen, what will the time be? Johnson powering his way down the straight. Harrison and Black in a battle for the silver and the bronze. Here comes Michael Johnson. Black trying to get there. 43.49. Just outside the world record, but a new Olympic record for Michael Johnson. I think Black was able to hang on for the second place silver, and Harrison may have got the bronze medal, but it was a charge to the finish line from Davis Kamoga that made it very close for third place.
With strength, and she has that strength. And that was not too bad. She pushed that back some. And straight up on it and be tight on the entry. And that was a beautiful dive. She didn't disappear, as I might have hoped.
because he hasn't had to take on Savon until the final. But let's be clear on one thing. De Fiabon still had a very tough draw. The bout with Mendy of France, world number 2, ended controversially. Oh, he goes to work on De Fiabon on the ropes, now leading 5-0. And Nate Jones of the USA, De Fiabon's semifinal opponent, had no quit in him.
And David hasn't made any kind of offensive threat in the first round to try to gain Savon's respect, and Savon just coming right at him and throwing hard shots early. Credit to David for taking the bombs offered from Felix Savon, but just too much from the great Cuban heavyweight.
But no shame in this defeat. David De Fiabon has had his dream come true. He fought for Canada at the Olympic Games and he won a medal. It's confirmed now as the 7th silver medal Canada has won in Olympic boxing. De Fiabon in the company of Olympians like DeWitt, O'Sullivan.
And the man with blast off on the top of his head. Robert Esme of Sudbury is all set to do that. Canada in lane 6, the United States in lane 4. And they're off, and it's up to Robert Esme to run the bend and make the clean exchange to Glenroy Gilbert, and he came flying out of the blocks. He did blast off. There goes Gilbert down the back straight. Gilbert is in a battle with Tim Harton, and now the third exchange. Marsh and Bruni Surin, and Bruni Surin has the lead. He's going to hand off in front, it would appear, to Donovan Bailey. A clean exchange, and Donovan Bailey is pouring it on. It's going to be double gold Canada. Oh, if you're Canadian, you have to love Saturday nights in Georgia. 37-69 for Donovan Bailey and the Canadian relay team, as Bailey and the other 3 members, Robert Esme, Glenroy Gilbert, and Bruni Surin, will depart Atlanta with a gold medal. 37-69 their time, outside the Olympic and world record. But for this quartet, that is a Canadian record. What a run, and the key may have been Robert Esme blasting off out of the starting blocks. They wanted that additional speed on the first leg. They got it from Robert Esme. Bruni Surin ran a magnificent turn, and when he put the baton in the hands of Donovan Bailey with the lead, there was no way the 100-meter champion was going to be caught. Every exchange was clean, and when you run to a time of 37-69, just off the world and Olympic record, you can't ask for anything better.
And our thoughts must also go to Chambers as well, really. He got them into the final.
He gets a medal as well.
He gets a medal, but, you know, credit to him as well. He got the boys in there with fresh legs. Esme came in with fresh legs, and it was the fresh legs that made the difference. Because Drummond really didn't get close, and it was Drummond on the first leg, really, that dominated the heats and semi-finals for the Americans. But Esme, as I said, wonderful job on that first leg. Fabulous run.
Well, when you look at these 4 men, they have competed individually in Canadian championships and world events. But in relays, it's a time when adversaries set aside rivalries for a common cause. And the common cause in Atlanta, a gold medal for Canada in the 4x100-meter relay. What an effort, what a run. These 4 men, Robert Esme, Glenroy Gilbert, Bruni Surin, and Donovan Bailey, have provided Canada with its 2nd track and field gold medal a week after Bailey set a world record in the 100-meter final, a time of 9:84, proudly carrying the Canadian flag.
The Atlanta Olympics ended with Canada winning 22 medals, this country's most ever at a non-boycotted games. And it came as no surprise when Donovan Bailey was named Canada's Athlete of the Year for his double gold medal performance. Like 1996, we are almost out of time. It's been a pleasure reviewing the year in sports with you. On behalf of Jeff Hutcheson, Wayne Koyman, and myself, all the best in '97, and we'll see you again next year.